And now Andre Johnson and Finnegan are going at it.
We cheer for these guys on Sundays. This past year, 10 current NFL players spent a night in a jail cell. Some of these you have probably heard about. Most of them you have not. One chased his ex-girlfriend through Miami and rammed her car.
Hey, get on the floor! I'm not moving nowhere!
Another one, a first-round pick, was accused of ordering a kidnapping, and he could be spending the rest of his life in prison.
The NFL star arrested and charged with felony kidnapping and armed robbery.
I am counting all 10 down, and they only get worse as we go. Here are the 10 NFL stars who were booked this year for serious crimes. We start at number 10 with Dallas Cowboys safety Markquese Bell. It was a Friday night in April when police in Prosper, just outside Dallas, pulled Bell over. An officer said he could smell marijuana, searched the car, and turned up a small amount of along with the THC vape. That vape is what did the damage, because in Texas, the concentrate counts as a controlled substance, which turned a routine stop into a felony drug charge. Bell was booked into the Collin County Jail and sat there overnight. He had signed a contract worth up to $12 million barely a year earlier, and now he was facing a felony and likely a suspension over what fit in his center console. Number 9 on this list was not carrying drugs. He was carrying a he was not supposed to have. This is the veteran cornerback Marshon Lattimore, and this is a crime he had committed before as well. On a January evening in Lakewood, Ohio, police pulled over a car Lattimore was riding in for expired plates.
I think you're the owner, sir, right? The plates are expired.
When an officer asked whether there were any weapons inside, police say Lattimore said nothing about the firearm that was actually in the car, and they booked him for carrying a concealed weapon and improperly handling a firearm in the vehicle. On its own, that is one bad night. The problem is that it almost is a carbon copy of March 2021 when Lattimore was a passenger in another Ohio traffic stop and officers found a loaded hand turned out to be stolen.
You were trying to play me and I'm not going for it.
That is not my bro.
Okay, you're going to jail. I don't care.
Two nearly identical stops 5 years apart in the same corner of the same state. Lattimore was one man with one gun. The next case involved a great deal more than that. At number 8, the story gets much darker. In July, police in Durham, Ontario, arrested Arizona Cardinals guard Isaiah Adams as part of a gangs investigation. Officers say they seized more than 3 kilograms of suspected a loaded hand, an oversized magazine, and a replica Uzi. Adams was picked up in a car alongside a woman. A search warrant then hit his house, where a second woman was arrested, and 2 other people in the case were charged with trafficking that. Adams himself is facing 4 separate firearm felonies. Now his lawyer has been firm that Adams had no idea any there and will be fully cleared. So this is still an allegation. 4 felonies attached to a and firearms operation is the heaviest charge sheet we have hit so far. Also, the last case on this list where nobody got hurt. From here, every single story has a victim. Number 7 is New England Patriots rookie Quintayvious Hutchins, and there's an irony to it. Hutchins was a captain at Boston College, and it was on Boston College's campus in a dorm that police arrested him this May. Officers were called to a 4th floor hallway for a man and a woman fighting. According to a recent advisor who saw it, Hutchins accused his girlfriend of cheating, then grabbed her by the neck and choked her. He was charged with misdemeanor, domestic assault, and battery. But there's a twist. The woman told the police nothing happened.
What?
Refused a restraining order, and the officer saw no marks. Hutchins pleaded not guilty and walked out on personal reconnaissance. What makes it worse for him is the timing. He was the 247th pick, a bubble player fighting just to make the roster. At number 6 is Rams left tackle Alaric Jackson, and to understand this case, we have to go back 2 years. Back in 2024, a woman sued Jackson and alleged he had filmed them having without her consent. Refused to delete it, told her she would never know if it was truly gone, then sent her the video the next day just to prove he had lied. The NFL suspended him for 2 games, and it cost him more than $500,000. Then, in 2026 June, Los Angeles police were called to his home and arrested him on a suspicion of felony domestic violence. According to officers, Jackson thought the woman was recording him, tried to rip the phone out of her hand, and left her with scratches down her arm. He posted $50,000 and was out by the morning. Prosecutors later declined to file the felony and moved the case into a diversion program, so the worst charge fell away. But this was the second time a camera and a woman ended with Alaric Jackson in a police report. The next man did not just scare someone, he put people in the hospital. Number 5 is Kansas City Chiefs receiver Rashee Rice, the only man on this list who had actually served his time this year. To see why, let's rewind to a car crash from 2024. Rice was driving a Lamborghini down a Dallas expressway at 119 miles an hour when he lost control and set off a pileup involving 6 cars. At least 7 people were hurt. One woman was left stranded on the highway with her 4-year-old son for hours. And in the footage from that day, Rice and his crew are seen climbing out the wreck, grabbing their bags, and walking away before anyone got help. He pleaded guilty and got 5 years of probation. Cut back to 2026. This year, he failed a drug test, which broke that probation, and a judge sent him to jail for 30 days while he was recovering from knee surgery. He is back with the Chiefs now, his time served. At number 4 is Green Bay Packers running back Josh Jacobs, a former rushing champion and one of the most famous names in our list. It started on a Saturday morning in May 2026 when 2 different neighbors called 911 about his house. On the dispatch audio, you can hear the operator relay what they reported. Yelling and screaming and the sound of things being thrown, a man and a woman inside. By the time police arrived, Jacobs had already driven off in his Mercedes G-Wagon. 3 days later, they arrested him and booked him on 5 counts, and the most serious was felony strangulation. And then the case did something strange. It stalled.
The district attorney has not officially charged Jacobs, but an investigation continues.
Jacobs denies everything. If one arrest for choking a partner is disturbing, the next guy managed to get arrested for it twice in the same week. At number 3 is Denver Broncos pass rusher Jonathon Cooper, a former Ohio State captain who pulled off something almost nobody does. He got arrested twice in the same week over the same woman. The first came in June 2026, when he and his girlfriend were both taken in after a fight that started when she accused him of cheating and threw his phone across the room. From there, their stories split hard. Cooper told police he grabbed her arm to get the phone back and, in his own words, braced his neck against hers, and he admitted to biting the phone to break it. She told police he grabbed her by the throat, pinned her against a wall, threw her to the floor more than once, and punched the wall right beside her head. A forensic nurse documented a strangulation injury serious enough to carry a substantial risk of death. Prosecutors added a felony. Then, only days after a judge ordered him to stay away from her, police say Cooper sent her 20 messages, called twice, and showed up knocking on her door until she called 911, which got him arrested all over again. He has pleaded not guilty. This list gets genuinely dark with our next story. At number 2, we have Atlanta Falcons edge rusher James Pearce Jr. On February 7th, his former girlfriend, WNBA player Alaric Jackson, told Miami police that Pearce was following her through the city in a white Lamborghini SUV. She said he pulled up next to her at a red light and tried to yank her driver's door open. She hit the gas and drove straight for the Doral police station. And she says Pearce ran her down, rammed the back of her car, then cut across and hit her head on a second time. When officers finally cornered him, the body cam caught the standoff.
Hey, get on the floor!
I'm not moving nowhere.
Get on here!
No, not your.
He was charged with multiple felonies, including aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and aggravated stalking. A separate charge for clipping an officer with his car was later dropped when the video would not clearly support it. In the end, Pearce took a diversion deal with a court-ordered therapy in an order to stay 500 feet away from Rashee Jackson. And if he completes it, the whole thing disappears. It was the wildest sequence of events on this list, and yet, it isn't our number 1 case. Because the ultimate story was not around a single heated moment. It falls in the category of organized crime.
To an armed robbery and kidnapping in Tampa. He turned himself in last night and made his first court appearance this afternoon.
Number 1 on our list is former Detroit Lions cornerback Terrion Arnold, a first-round pick just 2 years ago, and prosecutors describe a crime that seems to have been planned. It goes back to February 4th, when 3 young men, all in their late teens, were lured to an apartment in Tampa. Once they were inside, police say they were held at gunpoint, pistol whipped, beaten, and then robbed before being ordered to leave. The reason, according to investigators, is that Arnold believed that those 3 had stolen more than $200,000 in property from a short-term rental he owned. There is no evidence they ever touched it. But Arnold was convinced. He decided to take the matter in his own hands. When police investigated, they recovered a group chat. Arnold was found to have hired men to carry out the kidnappings, and those chats were proof of him giving them orders on how to go about it. 7 people were arrested in all. 2 have already pleaded guilty. Arnold turned himself in, was first held with no bond, and now sits under home confinement on a $1 million bond, facing 4 counts of kidnapping, 4 counts of armed robbery, and a real possibility of life in prison. The Lions cut him within hours, but in the subsequent weeks, even with all that hanging over him, other teams brought it in for private workouts. His agent says 4 teams have already reached out, and the odds of him signing in the next few weeks are quote-unquote very good. Yet, the case against him has barely begun. Arnold maintains his innocence. His next hearing is only an arraignment, and the trial that could put him away for life is still a long way off. 10 NFL players, 1 calendar year. A few of these men were cleared or watched the worst charges get dropped. A few are still fighting in court. Which one of these shocked you the most? Drop your take in the comments.